On May 3rd, 2021, I woke up $868,000 richer than I was the day before. The company I was working for, PlushCare, had sold for $450 million. Of course, I didn't do as well as my boss, the founder and CEO. Pretty sure he made something like $50 million. But as employee number 10 and head of marketing, I made out pretty well. I've never told anybody how much money I made from that sale, but there you go. It was $868K. Bragging makes me sad, but the YouTube algorithm respects it, so what am I gonna do? Here's what I'm gonna do. In this video, I'm gonna tell you the 5 ways we grew and sold PlushCare. The first 2 tips, I'll tell you the exact SEO hacks we used to get 1 million visitors in just 12 months. And tip number 3, I'll tell you the A/B test hack that works for basically every business. And FYI, tip number 5 also works for every business. This video is for marketers and founders. So if you're trying to start your business or grow one, keep watching. Let's get into it. SEO hack number 1. Private blogger networks. SEO was one of the most effective channels for PlushCare and definitely played a huge part in our sale to Accolade for $450 million. And it's definitely part of the reason I took my PlushCare money and started GrowthBar, the #1 AI writing tool for SEO. So PlushCare is a telemedicine company. Basically means you can see a doctor on your phone. So it was an insane search vertical. Healthcare. People search for medical symptoms and pills on Google every day. I mean, have you ever Googled your symptoms? Great, then you get it. I don't want to make my former employer too sad, so I'm not going to give you every SEO secret, but I'll share a lot. Here's the first SEO hack, and it's pure gold. Repeat after me. Private blogger network. Google loves to lie. They've explicitly said that private blogger networks, PBNs, are bad for SEO. If you don't know what a PBN is, it's basically like owning a fleet of mini sites that point people to your main site. PBNs are useful for passing link authority or for directly converting readers. But like I said, Google says PBNs are a no-no. But back in 2018, the growth marketer in me couldn't resist making a small private blogger network for one of the main medical conditions PlushCare treated, PrEP. PrEP is an HIV prevention medication that's really big in the gay community. So if you're a bigot, there's the door. People use PlushCare as virtual doctors to get PrEP. And believe it or not, there are 74,000 searches per month for PrEP and another 200,000 searches for variations of the keyword. So after I'd already covered PrEP from every angle on the main PlushCare site, PrEP medication pages, 20+ blog posts, I decided to start a dedicated PrEP website. Since the PlushCare site was already converting so much of our organic traffic on PrEP pages into PrEP patients, I figured I could double our conversions by basically duplicating my efforts. So I sat down one night, drank a few beers, and created another WordPress site focused only on PrEP. I paid for a few writers to make 20 or so blog posts, most of which linked to the main PlushCare site. Lo and behold, the second site got almost as much traffic as the first. And then I did it again. And yes, a third time. Again, that site got almost as much PrEP traffic as the first. It's important to note that I covered the topics from different angles with different writers and kept the content mostly separate to stay in Google's good graces. By the time I left PlushCare, we were the second biggest PrEP provider in the entire world.
Mark, I'm not done.
Sorry, that was kind of a mic drop moment. By the way, PlushCare got rid of those PBNs after I left. I think they figured it's probably too risky at their size, and they're probably right, but try PBNs for your own site. Promise Google says it's not good, but Google lies. Number 2. This is another SEO hack. I call it copycat SEO. So I'll admit, when I first got to PlushCare to lead marketing, I was kind of scared. CEO Ryan was actually a really great marketer, so a part of me was like, dang, what am I going to be able to do that this guy hasn't already done? So I did what I always do when I'm starting growth marketing for any company. I looked at the competition and I started noticing this one company, Blink Health, all over the Google search engine results page. They were doing something sort of weird. Whereas every other telemedicine provider positioned itself like a lovable online doctor's office, Blink Health made getting healthcare look like ordering a pair of socks on Amazon. You basically shopped on their site for whatever medication you were looking for, you added it to your cart, and then at the last second during checkout, boom, they actually had you talk to a doctor to get it. Well, that form of treatment was something that PlushCare could never get behind from an ethical standpoint. I couldn't ignore the fact that Google was loving Blink Health's site. So if you can't beat them, join them. While PlushCare's business model was fundamentally different from Blink Health's, you weren't paying for a drug before speaking to a doctor, I was able to spin up about 200 medication pages that looked to Google like an e-commerce experience. Many of those pages today rank #1 for queries like get Lipitor online or get antidepressants online. So I'll reiterate, PlushCare isn't a pill mill. But this SEO hack did funnel us a lot of potential customers and still does to this day. So the point is this: see what types of content Google favors and go crazy with it. Remember, Stick around for tip number 4. It works for every single business. Anyway, here's tip number 3. A/B test your checkout flow. All right, this one is one of the easiest tips for you to take back to your business. It was by no means the biggest needle mover at PlushCare, but it's still one of my favorite marketing tips on earth, and it works for every single business. So many so-called experts tell you to A/B test everything. A/B test your email campaigns, A/B test your ad campaigns, A/B test your landing pages, A/B test your cat. The truth of the matter is, you don't have time to A/B test everything, but there is one place on your site where the juice is definitely worth the squeeze, your checkout flow. This one A/B test at PlushCare took me all of 4 minutes to set up, and it made us an extra $2 million per year. $2 million per year. Yep, that's it. I added 2 sentences to the top of our appointment booking flow. 10 words made us an extra $2 million per year. There were no words at the top of the booking flow before, and now there are words. Those 10 words increased our conversion rate by 9%. That means the day we implemented it, we went from acquiring 100 customers a day to 109 customers a day. No additional ad spend, nothing. All I did was set up a little experiment in Google Optimize. Rest in peace, it's being sunset by Google. I ran 50 or more experiments in Google Optimize during my time at PlushCare. Only a handful were successful. And of all the ones that were successful, they all had to do with the checkout flow. Don't bother wasting your A/B testing time anywhere else on your site. The point at which a customer whips out their credit card is by far the most crucial place to run an A/B test on your site. Tip number 4. Lifetime value. This is the 4th strategy we use to scale PlushCare and sell it for $450 million. Honestly, this tip should be number 1 because it's the most important tip in all of business, but I figured I'd hook you with the other stuff first. Okay, lifetime value is the most important metric in your business. I don't care if you're a Fortune 500 CEO, a massage therapist, an Airbnb host, or a shoe cobbler, whatever that is. To explain, takes some amount of money to acquire a customer, right? Let's say you're running Google ads or Facebook ads or creating content for SEO or even passing out flyers. There's likely some cost for getting customers in the door. So even if you're an incredible marketer, it's pretty hard to lower that cost per customer. Ads are really expensive, salespeople are expensive, plus you have the normal costs of running your business, overhead, headcount, inventory, etc. But the place where you have a lot of control is customer lifetime value. If you're spending $50 to get a customer in the door, you're making $100, you're only making $50 per customer. Pretty hard to scale that business. Even if you hire some great marketer and lower your cost per acquisition to $30, you're still only making $70. So for most businesses, that's not enough to scale and thrive. But get that $100 customer to come back a second time or a 10th time, and you've got yourself a freaking machine. Plus, if you can get that high of a customer repeat rate in an LTV, you've got more money to spend on other advertising. So it's sort of a virtuous cycle that helps you scale the machine faster. So my marketing team at PlushCare spent more than half our time on figuring out how to get people coming back again and again and again. We did it in 3 ways. The first way, we emailed, called, and texted our customers a lot. Don't be shy. Emailing, texting, and calling your customers is basically free. Compare with spending money on Google ads or some other channel, spending engagement marketing dollars generally is ROI positive. So go for it. Make that next MailChimp campaign right this second. The second way we increased lifetime value was this. We began asking doctors to rebook patients before they'd even left their appointment. Of course, if your doctor tells you they'd like to see you in 3 months, you're probably going to listen and you'll probably book another appointment. Plus, it's just good medicine to do that. So think about ways you can rebook or get another commitment out of your customer before they stop thinking about you. If you're an e-commerce business, give your customer a deep discount coupon code in the box you send. If you're a massage therapist, ask your customer when they're free for their next appointment before you even leave their office. Get your customer in the door a second time before they finish converting for the first time. The third way we increased LTV was probably the most sophisticated. Not all of your customers are created equal. At PlushCare, our virtual doctors treated a lot of different conditions. At first, we worked to acquire every customer we could, no matter what they came to PlushCare for. Everything from the flu, strep throat, hypertension, anxiety disorders, it was all the same to us. But somewhere along the way, we decided to slice the data more precisely to find out which patients had the highest lifetime value. The patients with the highest LTV were the ones with chronic conditions, unsurprisingly. Things like anxiety, hypertension, diabetes, etc. Simply, they had a lot more consistent need for PlushCare. Between medication refills, quick questions, mandatory testing, and the rest, chronic condition patients were about 6 times more valuable than the ones with episodic conditions like cold or flu. Figuring this out meant we could make our ad targeting 6 times more effective. And the one other thing that we found actually was that rural patients were more valuable than city dwellers, probably because it's tougher for them to get to an in-person doctor. That's LTV. It's the most important metric in business. If you don't believe me, look at the biggest companies in the world and find me a single one whose average customer is worth less than $1,000 lifetime. How much do you think the average customer spends with Apple? How much do you think they spend with Google? How much do you think they spend with Amazon? Even the average Starbucks customer is worth $19,000 all time. Finally, the fifth way we grew PlushCare and exited it for $450 million was with emerging platforms. So remember PrEP? PrEP is that prophylaxis medication that prevents HIV in sexually high-risk populations. The primary population at high risk for HIV are gay people. Homophobes, time to switch the channel because I'm about to talk about some gay shit. See, as we're looking for ways to reach more PrEP market customers, we started exploring gay meetup groups, gay networking events, and then finally gay dating apps. Turned out that the gay dating and hookup apps were an absolute goldmine of customers at PlushCare. The reason was because that we found emerging platforms, ones that were big enough to have customers, but new enough to not know how to monetize fully. Basically, they didn't charge a lot for ad space. So you see, there was a time where Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, they were all affordable. It was before they realized what they had. Once they had a captive audience and they hired some Stanford grad who told them, you guys should charge a ton more, they did. Plus, once advertisers flocked to the platform, drove up the prices even more. So at PlushCare, our emerging platform was Grindr. It's a gay hookup app. Every $10,000 we spent on Grindr yielded about $50,000 of revenue. So we're basically printing money. So explore your niche and find those emerging platforms. It's going to take a lot of digging, but when you find them, they're as good as gold. All right, let's wrap this up and put a bow on it. PlushCare was a $450 million success story. Forever grateful for my time there, and I'd be remiss not to thank the rest of the team for making it possible with me. It was an extremely well-run, data-driven company, and it continues to thrive today for really good reason. So to reiterate the 5 lessons we learned today. First, don't listen to Google and don't shy away from a PBN. Next, check out what your SEO competitors are doing and copy it right away. 3, if you're going to A/B test anything, make it the place where people whip out their credit card. 4, the most important but most overlooked, most boring tip of all is maximize your lifetime value at all cost. 5, focus on emerging platforms. So if you're catching my drift, like and subscribe for more great content. Also try GrowthBar. Stay positive, keep growing.